It's moving. It's Young People Nation.
Welcome to Young People Nation. Listen to us weekly as we commit to bring transparency, healing, and truth to the everyday situations in life that might bring you down. Join us for your weekly dose of inspiration. Thank you for listening to Young People Nation. Make sure you subscribe so you never miss an episode. And now, here's your host, Eugene and Donna Perry.
Let's go. Christ is the foundation. Know his word gon' lead us. Know I'm already going. Taking steps I believe in. Giving guidance to the youth. Giving guidance to the lost. Giving the world to the project. Lead them back to the cross.
Welcome to Young People Nation. This is session 2 of Young People Nation with the Perrys today.
Here we go.
Okay, so we are celebrating Autism Awareness Month for the month of April. And so with that being said, we are the grandparents of an amazing grandson named Peyton Eugene Parker. He has his grandfather, middle name.
All right.
And so this little guy has really taught us about
life.
Yes, and you know, I knew I when I became a mother how much I could love, but having him, and he just draws you in, you know?
Yeah.
And so our grandson was diagnosed with autism at the age of 3.
Yes.
He's now 5, and he is making amazing growth. He's just moving forward. And so we're honored and we're grateful that God has blessed us to be a part of his journey. And we would like to start out, of course, also thanking God, thanking our community and all those who are supporting us. And in this session, we're going to be talking about observing our daughter steady transition as Peyton's mom. We are the grandparents. Okay, we're not the parents. And so we've had to learn to stay in our lane.
Oh, yeah, the hard way.
Yes. And God even gave my husband a word when he was on the golf cart. What was that word, dear?
Oh, Lord. Let me tell you. I was on the golf cart. I was riding around, and God spoke to me. And every word from God is not what you want to hear.
Yes.
And this was one of those situations.
Yes.
God told me that you cannot fix this. You cannot fix this. And I start crying like a baby.
Wow.
And because I always been put in situations where God gave me the strength and the knowledge to being able to solve problems. And that's what men do. They solve problems. And something need to be fixed, they fix it. But God said, you can't fix this. And I said, I can command troops. I could work $1 million equipment, go all across the land and do great things. But this is something that I cannot fix. And I was like a computer that was misprogrammed, that wasn't computing, but as usual, God makes his debut in saying it loud and clear so you understand you cannot fix this. And I start crying.
And so through this process, Peyton is 5 now.
Yeah.
I'm headed towards 6. And so it's been a journey.
Yes.
However, God has graced us as the grandparents.
Yes. And you celebrate those small victories.
Yes. Yes. And so, you know, in talking, we have very great open conversations with Nina.
Yes.
And one thing Nina shared with us is that she had to take time to grieve what she thought her child would be.
Yes.
And she said, you have to take that time and grieve that, because all of us, and I can speak as a mother, you're like, oh, you know, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. And then when you get that diagnosis,
right,
you're like, okay, that's
devastation.
Yes. You know, my child is not going to be that in the perspective that I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, he can still reach those plateaus, but he learns a different way.
Yes.
It's like a person have dyslexia in a way. that can be part of it too. He learned differently, and once he learned it,
Oh yeah.
and got it, he can take you somewhere.
Yes. Yes.
And that was a challenge. It's the grown-ups
Yes.
learning how to from how you was taught to teach a different way.
Yes.
And we have the most difficult time in adjusting because we are creatures of habit. If we get up in the morning and we eat the toast and drink the coffee, we got to have it every morning before we go to work. If we don't get that before we go to work, well, a perfect example is a person that smokes. Got to have that cigarette. Don't get that cigarette, it's gonna be a bad day. And that's how it is by us learning a different way to teach.
Yes.
And autistic people can teach you a lot of things.
Yes. And you know, I'm very grateful that you, as her father, gave her a space where she could cry. You know, that means a lot, parents, that creating that atmosphere for your children to be very transparent in their process, that she recognized she didn't have to be super mom in front of us. She could just say, I prayed. She said that I prayed and I trusted God, and this happens. So, God, I'm not understanding. But one thing she did say in her prayer time is God let her know, this is not your journey, Nina. This is Peyton's.
Right.
You just get to be part of it.
Right. And see, the name it and claim it people in church and all like that, it's not a demon. It's not sins that the father and mother committed or the adult commit. These are things that are unexplainable.
Yes.
And it's a lot more than just pray about it, and I believe it's going to happen. And this is one of those situations that it didn't happen. And I really couldn't stand the people say, I get everything I pray for. You know,
that's not true.
And that's not life. That's not life. Everything you pray for, you don't get.
No.
And when you had that perception, because I had the perception when I first got saved and all, when Peter walked on the water, I believe I would walk on water too, and I almost drowned.
Yeah, if you got that kind of faith now, and with Peter keeping his eye on God, when he took his eye off God, then that's when he began to sink.
Yeah, but in reality, gravity always wins.
You know, you had made mention in the last session about recognizing it's not your fault and that this is not a disease.
Yeah.
You know?
It's not a disease. It is a different way of learning. And it's no cure for it, but they can adjust and do amazing things and move forward in life. But we as adults have to learn a different way to teach and respect the way they learn. 'Cause I remember when the first time Peyton spoke.
Oh, wow.
And he was around 5, and he said, Mama.
Yes.
And boy, I let the fell out.
Yeah, we all just was tearful.
Yeah.
My mama. That's what he says.
Yep.
My mama.
My mama.
Yes. And it's just a joy watching him. You understand? And when he come over and we've created our home that he has like a sensory room upstairs where he can just go upstairs and just jump on the trampoline or whatever he needs to do to get that energy out.
Yeah, he got a lot of energy.
Yeah, so they have a lot of energy.
And they're very aware too, because don't think that they just run and don't have no insight of what's going on. Because he knows when he's standing near an edge or something, he'll look down and back away. I remember when Journey the dog came over. And he didn't just walk up to the dog. He was like very aware of the dog, and he just inch over and touch it, and then once he touched it and saw it wasn't gonna hurt him, and then because autistic people are very aware, they're aware to sound, light, loud noises, and give you an example of that. You may hear a baseball game or a football game with people cheering and all. With them, it's multiplied by 10.
Yes.
That's what they hear. When you see lights and things like that, it's multiplied by 10 for them. And when you're talking to them and all, they hear gibberish a lot of times because they hear all the words together at once. They hear the whole sentence as one word.
Mm-hmm.
And they have to learn how to separate the sentence in the proper spaces so they understand what you're saying.
I really admire how you, as his grandfather, you dived in to do the homework and the research so that you could be that advocate, that help for Peyton, for his mom. I really admired that about you. You just dived in, but you had to recognize, okay, wait a minute, I'm the grandparent, not the parent,
Yeah.
And so, but once you, even with that, I've heard Nina, she constantly tells you thank you, tell both of us thank you. I really appreciate you guys. And so, recognizing with her journey as a mother of a son with autism, and there's different spectrums, levels.
Yes.
Like we had the pleasure of meeting the young lady Nicole that goes to Faith Outreach West, where she has a 17-year-old, and that her son is 17, and she shared with Nina such deep wisdom.
Yes.
Her as she's retired military, and so her and her mother were able to bounce back and forth so her son could get the proper help. Also, I'd like to say this about our daughter, jumping on getting the help early. You understand that she started at the age of 3. So, and I want to say that she shared that they can't diagnose it earlier than 3, even though Amber recognized it early.
Well, I'm gonna say about that they can recognize it earlier than 3, but the many different aspects that they go by, it can be very confusing, and but they can tell by the way the baby be locked in steering at a certain item,
flapping their hands,
and flapping their hands,
yes.
and little things like that.
Yes.
But some kids do stuff like that and don't have it.
Yes.
Especially in young girls, because everything is geared toward young boys. Young girls can have it, and they be very quiet, subdued, don't pay attention, and they kind of like be eyes looking down, and very shy, and the young girls, many of them can have it, and you won't know until they get older, and it's a great separation there, because it's a whole. With the disorder, it's not one standard that they have it or don't have it. And if many adults have gone through and be older and found out they had it. Yes,
we've heard that.
Yes, and one thing about it, once you get that diagnosis, you need to contact Easter Seals or Autism Speaks and Social Security and these other programs, because they have funding for you. They have assistance for you, and they have a ton of information, and also the autistic community.
Yes,
which I didn't know even existed.
No,
because nobody never talks about them. Nobody never talks about them, and you don't know they're there. And they can have all kinds of things. Because one of the most important things you can get is people to take care of your child so that you can have some time for yourself.
Because you need that time.
That's self-care.
You've got to do that self-care, because we're not created to, do all this alone.
Yeah.
I want to say, also talking with Nina, she told us God, her and her child and the community, she has built to help her. Oops, let's stand back up now. To process life.
Yes,
that's our autism awareness book. Okay, she has one of her neighbors taught little fella how to swim.
Oh, no, that day. Let me tell you something. I can't swim lit. If I jump in the water and float on my back, I go straight to the bottom.
Yes.
And the guy, a perfect stranger, that came over and said, "Hey, you swim like this, and you can do this." And Peyton listened.
Yes.
And now he swims like a fish.
Yes. Yes.
And it took about 10 minutes. It took about 10 minutes to him to explain to him how to do it. And he said when they first go down and all like that, they swallow a little bit of water because they'll know not to do that. And he went through that. And then after that, Peyton was jumping over there on the 14-foot side. You know, I'm over there on the kiddie side. You know, no deeper than my knees. But he over there
on 5 feet, not 14.
Oh, okay. Correction.
Yeah.
The 5 to 6 foot. Well, it was more than that. It was more than that. Almost, I think it's 8. Almost 8.
No, not where he.
Well, it's over my head. I put it, it's over my head, and he jumps in there. He dives down, and he pick up the weights and come back up.
Yeah,
and all, and he do that all day.
Yes,
he does it all day. He don't take a break. He has one of the things with autism kids, their diet. Mm-hmm. He only eat healthy food.
Yes.
He eat berries. He eats strawberries. He and things like that. He doesn't eat no meat.
No.
None. And no vegetables.
But we're working on the vegetables.
Working on it.
Yes.
And so he can get those fatty omega-3 and all that the body needs.
Yes.
But he can run all day.
Yes.
And Grandpa can't run all day. I found that out because he took off around the building and 100 yards down the road, I finally caught him. And the only reason I caught him, he stopped for a
breather.
A breather. Well, it wasn't a breather.
Uh-huh.
It was a large ditch with water in it.
Okay.
And he stopped because he was trying to figure out how to get to the other side. Mm-hmm. And that's when I caught him. And it wasn't for that. He was still running.
I also, when it was his birthday and how the community came together.
Yes.
Oh, my goodness. They came together and threw him a party and they just celebrated him. And you just standing back looking. These are people that they haven't known Nina and him through the journey. They met them recently, but for them to all come together and give him that party, he had 2 parties last year.
Yeah.
And so it was just phenomenal. And I thank God. I thank God that she connected with a community to help her, because it's just not we as her grandparents, her sister, or her close friends. It has been a community of people.
You have to let other people in.
Yes, healthy people.
You can't do it all yourself.
Yes,
because it will drive you nuts.
Yes,
and then with Peyton, as he grows and reach different levels, he be doing stuff you never thought he could do, because he start writing words on the board. And some of the words I couldn't spell. And he got frustrated with me because I couldn't spell the words. And he's about order.
Yes.
If anything in the house that isn't where it was supposed to be at, he'll move it and put it back.
Yes.
They got great memory.
Yes.
And then he really got to me one day. He wrote on the board, "I'm lonely."
Jesus.
And I broke down and cried.
Yes.
I cried like a baby. He wrote down, "I'm lonely." That's how he really felt. And see, people try to avoid people with disabilities because they do not understand the people. But they have emotions like anybody else. Mm-hmm. And being autistic people, they feel and sense more deeply than what we do. Mm-hmm. He could walk in and pick a pattern out on the rug or in a game and see the difference. Mm-hmm. Like some psychological tests that you take, and you look at the circle and it's a 3 inside the circle, but you can't see it because it's blended in with the rest of the colors. He can pick it out that's instantly.
Yes, his level of intelligence is phenomenal.
Yes, he knows anything that's not the same. He knows it that's like bam, he got it. And I'd be like, how you say that? And cause he comes in and he takes my phone, unfortunately.
Oh, you give it to him too.
Well, that too. He takes my phone, and I was watching the basketball game, and he took my phone and he found on my phone how to change the channel on the TV and take over.
Yes.
I didn't know my phone would do that. And so I'm sitting there watching the NCAA tournament, and all of a sudden, here is what's that?
Word party.
Word party. Word party comes up on it. I said, this must be a commercial. I hadn't realized Peyton was controlling the TV with my phone. And I said, who changed the TV? He was over there smiling, laying on the couch smiling. He realized he done it. And he was relishing in I didn't know what happened.
You know, and we're about to conclude in this session. We're very grateful
Yes.
that God chose us to be a part of Peyton's journey. Being a selfless parent, I recall talking with Nina, because we talk to her every day.
Yes.
And so Nina said, you have to put aside what you plan because you have this child here that needs your focus and your attention.
Yes.
That's being a selfless parent. And being a parent is a selfless decision.
And you're not being punished.
It is a selfless decision. You created this human being, you and the father. And so, like my husband said, it requires both parents.
Both parents.
It requires both parents to get in there and get this done.
Yes, because
Okay?
that child remembers
Yes.
everything from the time he was sitting in the high chair. He remembered, because once he get up to walk and stuff like that, he'll come over and probably smack you side of the head.
Well, we hope not.
Well, we hope
No.
not. But
No.
but he
no.
remembers everything you did, everything you said.
And we're praying that, listen, that's not okay.
Mm.
Okay, so we don't want no kids smacking or hitting, because that's not good.
Yes, no violence.
That's right. And so we want to create loving, embracing atmospheres. So we're again thankful to God that God allowed us to be a part of Peyton's journey, Nina's journey. And also we've been blessed to meet other children that
Yes.
are diagnosed with autism, and watching different spectrums of it. So you never know where your journey's going to take you.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so we're going to end with this session. And again, recognizing April is always Autism Awareness Month. So by the time this may air, April may be out, it may not be out, but in any instance, autism awareness should be 365. Okay. And so just pay attention in the community and be aware. Again, we always like to give out our mental health hotline information because this can be mentally draining. Okay. So, like anything else, just being a parent can be mentally draining. But the mental health hotline, you have the 988 hotline, you have the 741-741, that's free 24/7 service. Then the NAMI, that's a National Alliance on Mental Illness. So please, let's be aware and let's pay attention. And grandparents, where you can get in, you get in and bring that mother or that father some form of relief, okay? So they can regroup, because remember, parents, remember, people, a healthy mother is a healthy child. All right, Mr. Perry.
I wanted to say, just notice around you, if you see a disabled person and all, ask them and be kind to them.
Yes.
Do they need any assistance? And they're greatly
Yes.
appreciate it.
Yes.
And don't look at them like they don't exist, because everyone needs help.
Yes.
Everyone does, especially them. And not to show pity, but just to be helpful, and so that they'll be part of society. And a couple of days ago, they have another incident with a young lady that left her kids in the apartment all by themselves, and while they went on a cruise, and looking at the kids on the TV camera and all like that there to make sure they were all right. But it was an 8-year-old and a 6-year-old living in the apartment by themselves while the mom went out on a cruise by her to enjoy herself, and therefore the mental stress to think that that's all right. But that person has been wore out to the point where they're not even thinking straight. That's why we as a community have to notice everything around us so that we can be a help to them. This has been Young People Nation, and remember, there is always hope.
Let's go. Christ is the foundation. Know his word gon' lead us. Know I'm already going. Taking steps I believe in. Giving guidance to the youth. Giving guidance to the lost. Give the world to the project. Lead them back to the cross. He the #1 prospect. He the top boss. I was broke, I was empty. He the one that paid the cost. Really thought that I was cool. There was nothing like the Savior. Now it's time for the truth. The whole world been waiting. It's Young People Nation. 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 The whole world been waiting. Whatever you going through, I know what he gonna do. Don't matter the circumstance, we going back to the root. Keep going. Let that seed keep growing. You need peace and we know it. Now it's time to live holy. Young People Nation. You know what time it is. Young People Nation. Get ready, the time is here. Get ready, we vibing here. We about to let God in here. Young People Nation. It's Young People Nation. Yeah, do it for the heavens, you know where we going. Influenced by his love, you know we gotta show it. It's time to put the youth onto what God is doing. Cause I can tell you now, right now, that God is moving. It's Young People Nation.